Hello everyone and welcome to a lecture on object-oriented programming methods. So since this is the first lecture, I would like to give you a brief about the basics which is required for object-oriented programming. So this is your Turbo compiler, Turbo C++ compiler. So you can download this compiler as per your system requirement. Now first of all, we will save this file. That is, let us say, the beginning program. And for C++, we have to check the extension, that is, it should be .cpp, right? So you can see the begin.cpp is your file name. Now let us understand the structure of any program. So first of all, you will require some files which is to be included for your program to run. So first of all, let us understand the basics of this. So just like a human being, you have a head, then you have limbs associated with it, right? Then you have legs, right? So similar to structure of a human being, you have a structure of a program. So how it is? So this basically this head. So all the files or all the things are stored in your head, right? So similarly, all the necessary functions will be stored in a section which is called as header files, right? So all the required files will be stored in these header files. So for executing a C++ program, you will normally require hash include. So we will see it later. You will normally require iostream.h header file. So .h is the extension for the header file. Similarly, for a PDF document, you have an extension .pdf. So similarly, for a header file, you have an extension of .h. Similarly, you will require conio.h. I will explain the use of these two header files while doing the program. Now one more terminology is there, so you have understood that these are the header files. So similar to that, this is similar to your brain, right? So you have two hands and two legs to do some functions, right? So one terminology is there, that is a function. So similarly, the programs must do or must perform any functions, because that is the only purpose of writing a C++ or C program. So similarly, you have functions over here. So you have one or multiple functions. Now some of the functions are stored in these header files. These are called as inbuilt functions, right? So these inbuilt functions are stored in header files, and that's why we have to include these two header files into our program, right? And there is no need to write the programs or functions written in these two header files, right? So there is another variety of functions, that is user defined functions, right? So you can define your own functions as well, okay? So that are called as user defined functions. Now let us go back to the C++ program. So first of all, you have to begin with hash include iostream.h. Okay, now you always remember that the C++ programs are basically dependent on the various syntaxes. If you miss any of this special character, that is if you miss to include this hash, so it will give you an error in the program. So always remember, C++ programs are based on the syntaxes. So if you give greater than sign over here, so that is again incorrect. So you have to follow some syntaxes for this header files. So syntax is hash include less than sign, then iostream.h, then greater than sign, right? And to write comments, so these comments will not be executed in the program. Suppose you have to remember, so what particular function is for, you can write comment using these two double backslash line. Okay, so I am writing the comment, that is these are the header files. Okay, so this will not be executed, only this horizontal line will not be executed, right? Then second header file you have to include, that is conio.h. again observe the syntax, it is exactly same. Again you have to check for if you are making any spelling mistakes. If you fail to write C over here or something like that, so spelling mistakes you have to take care of. So this is the header functions. Now we will begin with the second, that is void main. So this is again the user inbuilt functions. So you have to provide some data over here. So I am writing void main function. So again this is a comment, so this will not be executed. This is just for our understanding, right? So I will begin with void, right? Void main. I will explain the meaning of this void afterwards. So if you observe how to write a function, so this void is nothing but, I am writing here what is void. So void is nothing but the return type of that function, of the function. Okay, so again I will explain what is return type in further. Okay, so next, what is this main? So main is nothing but the function name, and again remember that this is mandatory. Your program will not run if it does not contain the main function. So the writing the main function is mandatory because your program always executes with the main function. Okay, again for function name, this round brackets are must. If you do not give round brackets, it will give you an error. Okay, so I am writing the main function. Now always the function starts with a curly bracket. Okay, always remember it is a curly bracket. So this point indicates the start of the main function. Okay, and it will end with again curly bracket like this. So this indicates the end of the main function. So even if it is a user defined function, you have to start it with curly bracket and you have to end with it curly bracket. So whatever you are writing between these two round these curly brackets, so that will belong to your main function. Okay, so let us write, so this is again a new function to you, that is cout. So the main purpose of cout is, I'm writing the purpose, cout is used for displaying information onto the screen. Okay, so how to write this cout? So again, the syntax, remember, you always have to follow the syntax. So you have to practice each and every program several times just to remember the syntax. Okay, so let us understand this. So you are giving two less than signs, right? Then if you want to write a text that is hello students, so that is to be enclosed within the double quotes. So what it will display? It will display hello students on the screen. Okay, now again syntax, which whatever you write inside the double quotes, it will be displayed on the screen. But just to tell the compiler that this statement is over, so that is to be done with a semicolon. So what this semicolon stands for? This semicolon stands for, or this semicolon tells compiler that this line of instruction or statement is finished. Okay, so this is the main purpose of a semicolon. Now you must be thinking that why we have not given a semicolon over here, right? But if you put a semicolon over here, what it will do? It will end your main function before it starts, right? So that's why the semicolon is not required over here. Okay, so this is the hello students. Now we will use one of the function, that is inbuilt function, which is written in this conio.h file. Okay, so that function is getch. This is inbuilt function. Always remember that any function name will followed by round brackets. Okay, so you can see the round brackets in the main function. You can see the round brackets in getch function. So this is a inbuilt function and it is stored in conio.h file. So you can directly use that function which is already available to you. Okay, so what is the use of this getS function? That is get character. So the purpose of this getch function, that it will not, the program will not turn off, or the screen will not turn off unless you press any key on the keyboard. So first of all, let us see what if we do not write this function, what will happen? Let us just check. Now to run the program, you have to go to run and then here run. The shortcut to run the program is Control key on your keyboard plus F9 key. So you can also run using that. Okay, so run the program. So you can see I am running the program, but you are not seeing anything on the screen. It is because you have not written the getch. So this, after writing this getch function, unless you press any key on the keyboard, your program will not get turned off. Okay, so let us now run the program. So now I'm running the program. Now see, you can see the hello students have already been printed. Hello students, hello students, hello students, but we have not seen it because we have not written the getch. Okay, now next function we have to use, that is clear screen. That is, before running the program you have to clear screen. Okay, the short form is the function name is clr scr, clear screen. Again, it is an inbuilt function and the semicolon is required. Okay, now let us check the program. Now you can see there is only one hello students, right? Because earlier printed hello students were erased by this clear screen function. So always remember, before starting the main function, after starting the main function, the first statement you have to write is clear screen. Okay, now let us check. Okay, what I will do, I will erase all these comments. Okay, now next we will see, suppose you want to print hello students and welcome to the class. Okay, now again if you can observe, I have written cout. Okay, now double less than sign and welcome to the class. Okay, so let us see what it will print. So you can see this hello students and welcome to the class is joined, right? So you do not want this. So you want this welcome to the class to be printed on the next line. So what I will do, after this hello students, I will write forward slash and n. This slash n is basically for the new line. Whenever you want to insert a new line in a program, you have to write slash n in double quotes. So it will be treated as the new line. Okay, now let us see the output of the program. You can see hello students and welcome to the class is written on the new line. Okay, so this is the use of slash n. So you may say that, sir, we do not want the new line. We want a tab between students and welcome. So for that you can use forward slash and T. So T stands for tab. Now let us see the output. So you can see there is a tab between students and welcome, right? So you can modify the display as per your requirement by using slash T or slash N. Okay. Now this is just for displaying. Okay. So you may say that, sir, we want to get something from the user. Okay. So for that, we need to learn the data types. So next we will revise the data types. Okay, data types. So there are basically multiple data types available in C++ and as well as C language. So the first very common data type is int. Int stands for integer. Okay, so what would be the examples of integer? So your age can be one of the example of an integer. Your class roll number may be an example of integer. Your mobile number is one of the example of an integer, right? So these are all integers. So okay, so second type of data type is float. So for example, integer may be like 3. Integer may be 3, or you may write integer as say something like that. it will not allow you the decimal points. Okay, what would be the examples of float? So it will be, we will allow you 3.5 or 7.8 or something like that. Okay, so what will be the examples of float? That would be price of any item, that could be float, or your weight, that could be float. So you will have multiple examples of float, right? Okay, that is the second data type. The third data type is char. Char stands for character. Okay, so character means your name, your gender, the text type of data that will be stored in a char. So other data type may be the Boolean data type. Boolean data type stands for true, false, or 1/0. So that would be the examples of Boolean data type. It will allow you only two values, either true or false, 1 or 0. Okay, so we will mostly require these three types of data type, that is integer, float, and character. Okay, so let us understand how to use these three data types into our program. So first is int. So first of all, let us display something. So we are learning currently the data types. Okay, I am displaying, so that's why I am using cout in double quotes. What do you want to display? So I want to display enter your name. Okay, let us display some welcome message. Cout welcome students. Then I want to have it into next line, so that's why I have written /n, then followed by a semicolon, means this statement is over. So it will tell compiler that execute the next statement now, that is this statement. So what I'm asking the user, enter your name. Okay, then this statement is complete. Okay, now a user supposed to enter his name. So now getting the value, okay, you have to declare a variable. So what do I mean by a variable? So variable is, so suppose I am declaring three variables. Char variable, how to declare a variable? So char name, and in square bracket the size of this variable character. Okay, so this is how we declare a variable. So what is the syntax for declaring a variable? First is data type and followed by variable name. Okay, so this is the general syntax for a variable. So let us now declare another variable, that is, let us say age. So age, I am assuming it as int. Okay, that is 20 years old, 22 years old, or 18 years old. So I am declaring a variable as age, integer age. Okay, now I will declare the third variable as float. Float, let us say weight. Okay, so I have declared the third variable as float. So you may wonder that why this character name is having this 20 over here and others there are nothing like that. We have directly written age and then semicolon, then float, wait, then semicolon. So let us understand the structure of this character variable. So we will come back over here. Now let us understand the structure. So you have written over there as 20, right? So always remember that this is the memory, system's memory. So I'm just drawing a diagram just to get a visualization of this memory. So I have written as char name 20. So this is just a character array, or that is name. The name of the array is name. Okay. So variable name you can keep as per your need. You can write person name also over here. Okay. Or student name also. So variable name is up to you. You can keep any variable name. Okay. So I am writing the index value of this. Index value in the memory location, and I'm writing the value of what it contains basically. Okay, so that is the value. I will write here index. Let us assume that it as index number, just not to get confused with value and index value. Let us assume that is as simple as index. Okay, so this is index and followed by the value. Okay, so since you have written 20 over there, it means, and always remember that this array starts from 0. So the last memory location will have an index of 19, right? So it will start from 0 and it will end at 19 because you have written at here as 20. Okay, so suppose you enter, let us say Rahul. Okay, so this index of, that is for example name of 0, this will contain the value r. Okay, then name of 1 will contain the value a. Okay, this is index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3, this is index 4. Okay, so 2 will contain h, index 3 will contain u, and index 4 will contain l. Okay, so this is, in this way your name will get stored in the memory, right? So that's why we have written the name as array, because if you create only this just like integer and float, so it will take only one character from the name. That is, even if you enter Rahul in the name, it will only take r in the name. So that's why we have to create an array of characters. Okay, char stands for characters. It will take only one character. So similar to this, let us understand an array of integer. We have just seen the array of characters. Now suppose you may require 10 numbers in an array. So suppose I am declaring an integer array. Let us say marks. Okay, you are getting the marks of a student in 5 subjects. So I have declared an array marks. So similarly, I want to enter marks of 5 subjects. So I will create an integer array of name marks with elements 5. Number of elements as 5. Okay, so this part will not be required. So 5 elements are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so and suppose user enters 50, 60, 40, 80 and 90. The marks received in 5 subjects. Okay, so the value of marks at 0 will be equal to 50. So this 50 will be stored over here. Then 60 will be stored over here. Then 40 over here, 80 over here, and 90 over here. So in this way, the integer array works. Similarly, if you create a float array marks of 5 subjects, or let us take price of 5 items. Okay, and you enter something like 50.6 or 50.7 or something like that. So at 0 position it will be stored like 50.6, 60.7 and so on. So in this way the array of characters, array of integer and array of float works. So let us go back to our program. So in this way I have created array of name, single variable called as age and single variable with weight. Now let us ask the students, that is, first of all I'm welcoming the students. Now I am asking a user to enter his name. Then how to get the values from the user. So for that you will use cin. अगर स्क्रीन के ऊपर डिस्प्ले करना है तो सी आउट. ओके, अगर आपको स्क्रीन से वैल्यू लेना है या यूजर से वैल्यू लेना है तो यू विल राइट सी इन. ओके, सो अगेन see the difference. Earlier you have less than equal to sign, less than sign, two less than signs. Now you have two greater than signs, exactly reverse of this. Okay, now I have to get the name, so you have to simply write name. Okay, in this way you can get the values from the user regarding the name. Now I want display to enter the age. Okay, again I need a /n before enter the age, because the sequence will be like, it will display the welcome student, then it will display enter your name, and then you are supposed to enter the value and enter your name over there. Okay, now as soon as you press enter key, it will display enter the age on the next line. So that's why I have to write /n over there. Okay, so I am asking user to enter age. Again, I am putting a semicolon just to tell the compiler that the statement is over. Then I will write C in age. So variable name that we have used earlier, the same variable name has to be written over here. If by mistake you write capital A, again the compiler or Turbo C++ will give you an error because small a and capital A is different for C++. Okay, it is case sensitive language. So the variable name return while declaring it, the same name is to be used. Okay, so I have written C in H. Now again I have to ask for weight of the person. So again /n, enter your weight, double quote complete, then followed by a semicolon. Again then C in weight, again check for spelling mistakes. Okay, now let us see by running the program. So welcome students, then enter your name. Let us, I am putting Rahul. Now enter the age, suppose he is 19 years old. Then enter your weight, suppose he is 60.6 for example, and then I will press enter. Then you have got the values, but you have not displayed the values of these variables. Program ने values ले लिया, but it is not displayed on the screen. Okay, so right now at this point of time the get ch function is working. So as soon as I press any key on the keyboard, your program will exit, right? So this is how to take the values from the user. Okay, now just I will comment over here, that is getting the values from the user. Now whatever you have got and stored in the computer's memory, that is to be displayed. So how to display the values of variables, that is the question. So you have already received the values from the user. Now you are supposed to display it. So let us see how to display it. So I will write C out. Okay. Now the information entered by the user is as follows. Okay, then you have to give /n and then double quote complete, means this complete text will be printed on the screen and followed by a semicolon. Okay, now you can put this one /n will give one line. If you want multiple lines, you can put it number of times. So it will put 3 lines after the text is displayed. Now let us understand how to print the values using cout. So in double quotes, name of the student is, I have to display it, but I have to display using this /t. Okay, just to present it nicely. Now once again you will give double less than sign. Okay, now the name of the variable, that is name. Okay, and then semicolon. Okay, now again you can continue it if you want to give /n after the name is printed. So this is the one way, or instead of writing it over here, you can also put a semicolon over here, and you can also write cout over here and then /n. Okay, so both the ways you can use. You can write the cout statements multiple times. Okay, another way is you can write c by /n before commencement of the next statement. So what we want to print next, that is age of the student is, again /t, double less than signs. The name of the variable is age. Again you have to print, again I am putting /n, weight of the student is /t. The name of the variable is weight. Okay, we forgot to give double quote over here. So whatever is written inside the double quote, it will be printed as it is. Okay, so you can see the red one. So it is a text which will be printed as it is on the screen. So this weight then followed by a semicolon. Semicolon ends the statement. Okay, now let us print this. Welcome student, enter your name. So I am entering Rahul over here. Okay, the enter age, suppose he is 19 years old. Enter weight, suppose is 60.6 kgs. See, you can see the information entered by the user is as follows. That is, name of the student is Rahul, age of the student is 19, and weight of the student is 60.599998, which is nothing but 60.6. So in this way you can print the information. Okay, this is about the displaying the information and getting information from the user. Okay, just to demonstrate you the array, right? So I am only displaying the first letter of the name, suppose. Okay, so what I will write, name square bracket 0, that is the index number or index value, and square bracket complete, then followed by a semicolon. Let us see what it will print. So I am still entering complete Rahul. Okay, enter age 19, weight 60.6. So you can see that it is now only printing R because we have given index value of 0. Okay, so that's why it is only printing the R value. Okay, now let us do one more thing, that instead of declaring it as array, so I am declaring as a single character. Let us run the program once again. So I am still entering Rahul. see, your program goes out of the loop, because what is happening, it will only take one variable, but you are providing more than one character. So this will go the age of the student as well as weight of the student. You can observe it is not entered by the user, and it is taken as garbage value, any random value. So that's why while doing the program, always remember the size of the name. Okay, so that is very important. So this is about the variables, displaying and obtaining information. Now secondly, we will consider, let us save the program. For saving, the shortcut is F2. Okay, so let us, I will create a new file. I will close this beginning file. I am again saving it. Conditional statements, conditions. Okay, so you can observe that maximum name can be taken as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 characters. I have given the file name as conditional, but it has only taken 8 characters from that. So always see after giving a file name what it is writing on the top of this top center of this screen. Okay, so let us include the files iostream.h and conio.h. Okay, then void main function starts. Now we are saying conditional statements. So one which will be requiring frequently, that is if statement, if else if else else statement. Okay, so let us go back to, okay, we will see over here only. So when this if will be used, so this will be used in the situation when you have to decide between two values. For example, you are writing a program for identifying the largest value from entered values. Okay, you have to identify the largest value. So let us create an integer array. Okay, let us take, I am declaring 4 variables A, B, C, D, E. Okay. Okay, I will put only 2 variables right now because it will make your program complex. So I will create 2 integer variables A, comma B. We forgot to write clear screen before that. So I have declared 2 variables. Okay. Now instead of asking from the user, you can also define these values over here like this. So you have to understand the basic difference between declaration of variables and definition of variable. So writing this statement integer A, this is nothing but variable declaration. So you are basically declaring the type of the variable, that is the variable A is of type integer. So that is called as declaration. and this statement, that is assigning a value to a variable, is called as definition. Okay, so this is integer a comma b is declaration and a is equal to 10 in definition. So this method of assigning values to variables is called as compile time assign. Okay, and let us take the value of b during runtime. So for that I am displaying cout, enter the value of b. Okay, so now I am taking the value of b using cin statement as discussed in the previous example. So you can use both the methods depending on the need of the program. So if you want to take the values from user, then you can use cin statement, or you have to give the value at the compile time, you can use directly assignment operator. So this is equal to sign is called as an assignment operator. Okay, so I have demonstrated both the methods of assigning values to variable. So this is called as run time assignment. Okay, so value to b variable will be assigned after the program is running. So that's why it is called as runtime assignment. Okay, so now I have to write if statement. Again, focus on the syntax of if statement. So if, then a round bracket. Again, I is not capital, it is small. Okay, so if a is greater than b, round bracket complete. This is the condition which you want to check. If a is greater than b, again if is a function like main function. Okay, so I have given curly bracket now, means it will start over here. I will display a is greater than b. Okay, then this is complete. Again, followed by else. Else if this condition is not true, okay, in that case you will write else if a compares with b. Okay, so there will be three conditions. One is either a is greater than b, or b is greater than a, or both the variables are equal. Okay, so I will let us check if else if b is greater than a. Again curly bracket, then cout b is greater than a. Again, if this condition is also false, so only remaining condition is which will be written in else. Again curly bracket starts, else cout. What is happening? A is also not greater than a. The program will start from this. it will first check if A is greater than B. So if this condition is false, it will go in this second condition, else if B is greater than A. Again, if this condition is not true, then it will go over else. Only third condition is possible, that is else both A and B are equal. Okay, now all the conditions are met. So let us write a get ch after that, and then ends the main function. So here main function will end. Okay, let us save the program first. Always remember, you have to save the program before running it. Okay, so I am running the program. So we have already assigned A is equal to 10 during compile time. So only you have to enter the value for B. Suppose I am entering 20 and then press enter. So since 20 is greater than 10, it is executing the else if statement, that is B is greater than A is displayed correctly, right? Now let us run the program once again. Now I will enter 8. So what it should display? It should display A is greater than B. Let us check whether it displays or not. See, A is greater than B. Now let us put same values, B as 10. Okay. See, both A and B are equal. So in this way, this if statement works. We can also write here as else A compares with B. Again, this is just a case in which you have to compare two values whether they are equal or not. So it will not be done with single equal to. It will give you an error because single equal to sign assigns the value to variable. We have seen this. A is equal to 10. So this will assign the value 10 to variable. So we do not want that. We want to compare the value A compares with B. So you have to have two equal to signs. Let us check this now. We forgot to write if. So enter the value for B. I will write 10 over here. See, both A and B are equal. Okay. So this is about conditional statements. So with this, we will stop this lecture over here. You have to practice this at home. And if you face any difficulty, you can comment in the box below. Okay. Have a good day and happy learning.